Hello world! My name is Youri Hommen and I am a student in the program International Business Innovation Studies in Holland, and I'm going to draw my Ibis journey. In order to fully understand my Ibis journey and why I made the choices that I made, we have to travel back in time. That's right, we are going back 3.5 years to 2012 when I just graduated from high school at the Dutch HAVO level. Now, I finished high school with a sporting profile, simply because I was too lazy to do languages and felt like I was terrible at studying. That's not the right attitude, Youri! I know, but nevertheless I felt like I could do HAVO easily without really doing much. And even though the teachers warned me that I had to work harder, I was stubborn and continued in the same fashion. Eventually, I finished my high school without much effort, spending most of my time relaxing and playing video games. When I finally left high school, I thought, you know what? I rocked English and economics in the past 2 years, so let's just combine it and do international business management studies at the HVA. So I went to the HVA doing IBMS. I wasn't very confident after high school. In high school I turned from a more extrovert person to a shy person that deals mostly with himself. So when I chose to do a business study, I was forced to step outside of my comfort zone. The first weeks at the HVA were amazing. I met so many different people from different cultures. I loved it. I started my own student company and slowly learned the art of selling. When we just started the company, I was terrified on how I would approach random people and convince them to buy my product. Well, I said to myself, you better face your demons and become good at it. Doing so, I slowly started coming out of my shell. I started to sell more and more. Before I knew it, I was one of the top salesmen of one of the top companies of that school. That year we made a smashing profit margin of 63%. I was even handed a trophy for my hard work and dedication. Unfortunately, I had to leave school at the end of the year because of my lack of studying. I left with my chin up, feeling that I had improved a lot during the year. I was doing great in the financial department of my student company, and so I decided to study accountancy at the same school. It turned out to be one of the worst decisions in my life. The subjects did not suit me. I missed the cultural diversity and became unhappy with the program. Despite that, I continued. I made myself a promise that I would finish a bachelor program and fought myself through the second year. Entering the second year, I wasn't placed into a class until the second week. I missed a lot of classes and I already had to catch up with my work from last year. I asked my mentor to help me out, and she basically said, figure it out. The books piled up and I started to have headaches whenever I went to school. And after a few weeks, I threw in the towel. I felt lost. I wanted the degree badly, but I just kept failing. And this time, it felt like a lost year. I started playing video games religiously. And there was this one game, called Star Wars The Old Republic, which brought me back to the real world. I joined an in-game community and became one of the leading figures in it. I started leading missions with 8 or more people, giving me the confidence that I was actually good at some stuff, and I was actually good at leading people. And thus, I started to search for another study. I started visiting open days with a different mindset. I wanted to choose something that I would actually enjoy. Ibis caught my attention on the In Holland website, and when I went to their workshop I knew it. This is my program. I had no clue that something like Ibis even existed. The entire philosophy fitted me perfectly. I am an extroverted person who likes to work with other people and hates learning from books. The practical approach caused me to go to some more personal workshop which emphasized what I already knew. So I signed up. I still had to wait for months, but I was so excited that I wanted to start right away. Then after months of waiting, the moment was finally there. 10 weeks ago we started in September 2015. I absolutely loved it from the first moment. The openness and diversity during the introduction week was shocking. Ibis is not just a program, it's a community. In the second week we really started. We had school from 9 to 5 with a full program, visiting companies, having 3 guest lectures and a market fair at the end of the week. It was exhausting, but I enjoyed every moment of it. It was a deep dive into the program and I knew I was on the right spot. From the third week on we started the actual program. There are 5 meta skills: design, define, execute, lead, and learn. These meta skills define Ibis as a program. And so I will talk about how I developed those meta skills for every subject in Ibis. Ibis in general developed my way of learning to the point that I actually know how I learn stuff, by a practical approach. It also helped me to express my designing capabilities because of the freedom that was given in the program. I started overdoing everything, as I love making my projects look nice. We had 4 subjects: English 1, International World of Business, Fundamentals of Business,
and Professional Skill Development 1. PSD was divided into 4 subjects: Thinking and Reasoning, HTML and CSS, Information Skills, and What's in My Backpack. I came into English class with a certain amount of skepticism in my system. I was really confident about my English, having passed English easily on Ibis and talking English every single day online. However, when I started that class, I noticed that I had to brush up on my English quite a lot. It was still very easy for me, but every single class I learned some minor things. I developed my designing skills by becoming a better writer, actually knowing how to write letters and broadening my vocabulary. International World of Business had a really fun concept, mixing economics with history. For this subject we had to make a poster presentation and see assessment. I made a trial poster about the 1983 gay market crash and a real poster presentation about the alcohol prohibition in the United States of America. Working on those posters allowed me to be extremely creative. I made both of my posters into a piece of art. Next to my designing skills, it also helped me develop my learn, define, and execute skills. By making the poster and defining what is important for a certain event, I noticed that I learned a lot about the actual event. This was finally made into a poster that had to be presented on a certain day. During class I also worked on my lead meta skill, because we worked in groups multiple times to present a poster 2 hours later. In Fundamentals of Business we learned about the basics of businesses. We spent a lot of time working on business model canvases in order to prepare for the final assessment, a business model canvas and a business analysis. During this class, I developed my define skill through identifying certain factors and building blocks within a company. Finally, I had to execute all that I had learned into a BMC and business analysis for frog design. Professional skill development was split into 4 subjects. Thinking and reasoning taught me to think in a more critical way. We learned how the mind worked and had to blog about our insights during class. I especially loved the first 4 lessons in this class, as this was more focused on understanding the mind. During this class, I learned to define bad arguments and unreliable sources. The class has also helped me to improve my writing skills and the ability to come up with a good story. What's in My Backpack was my favorite class during this term. What's in My Backpack really helped me to discover who I am, what my passions are, and what I want to do in the future. It helped me define why stuff went wrong in my past. As a NLU, I also signed up for psychology in order to take this class to the next level. In Information Skills class we learned how to find good sources and making mind maps. I, however, already had lectures about this in the past, and I am very skilled at finding good sources online. It, however, did help me find new databases that I could use and making good mind maps. HTML and CSS was a very interesting class. It was my first touch with coding, and as someone who is interested in computer design, it was the very basics of what I had to understand. At the beginning, I skyrocketed in that class, but after a while I got into more and more trouble with the coding. In the end, I learned a lot about coding and I am able to design web pages better now.